Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video right here on Bitcoin. We're going to do a full update on Bitcoin in this video. We'll talk about what has happened over the last 24 hours, which has been pretty good. I mean, you can see that's still for the thumbnail. You can see the price action has been quite constructive. We've also left some imbalances though, and ultimately, I mean, when we're talking about the general financial markets. Like, would I say that the opening has been great? Nah, I don't know. All right. I mean, we have, if you take a look at S&P 500 futures in the pre-market right here, you can see we have moved up higher, but not much higher. And ultimately, if you take a look at something like, if I can scroll this all the way up, if you take a look at something like the volatility index, that also opened lower, which is good, right? Because that's less unrest. But ultimately, gold still is in an uptrend on the 4-hour time frame, and the volatility index is still elevated. So I think, you know, when we're talking about the fundamentals, but also when we're talking about Bitcoin, which we'll still talk about that in depth in a moment, I think it's still good to be, you know, relatively cautious. I did tell you over the course of, I think on Saturday, I did a full, you know, market update in terms of, okay, what are the different scenarios right here? And one of the scenarios we spoke about is creating just another range low, all right? Because you could argue that Bitcoin, and this is the higher time frame, we'll talk about the lower time frame in a moment because I think that matters a lot as well. On the higher time frames, you could argue we are just consolidating, right? Kind of. We've had deviations above that, we've had deviations below that, but this could just be a deviation below the range, and we could just revert back into the range right here and head for the range high right here at 119.3 and 117.5. And I have to say, when we talk about the price action we've seen since yesterday, although it's not perfect, which I'll show you on the lower time frames, it has been good, right? I mean, we have been able to actually find strong support here at 109,000. As you can see, is you know, quite a respected level. We've been able to, even though last week we've dropped down below that, we've been able to reclaim that with relatively high volume for the weekend. All right, the volume in itself was not exceptionally high. I mean, if you take a look at it right now as well, you can see the volume is $62 billion. Like, is that low? No, it's actually up 120% already. But if you compare that over the last month, you can see it's also not exceptionally high. And especially on a Monday, when quite a lot of things happened over the course of the weekend, new volume is going to hit the markets. That's going to matter, right? But ultimately, relatively high volume for the weekend. This looks good. This looks like a good start of this just being a range low hit, and that we can get into the top of the range, which, you know, when we actually do get up to the top of the range, we'll again talk about, can we actually break out, yes or no? But at least getting there would already be good for Bitcoin and good for altcoins, which I'll still make a video on a little bit later this morning, because I think we finally see at least a little bit more positive price action for altcoins, but more on that in that video. But on the short term, you can see what I mean with that it's not proven yet. All right, you can see that over the course of the Asian session this morning, we've seen some nice moves. That's great. All right, we broke out of yesterday's balance, yesterday's value area. That's good. We've been able to hold that. We've been able to break above the 7-day rolling VWAP, and we got up to this liquidity zone right here, which is that yellow line at 111.3. But you can see that the volume since that initial move right here, this one, the volume has been decreasing. All right, so on the lower time frames, there's bearish divergences as well, and we have some imbalances. So in order for me to say that we can rally up higher into this major resistance level at 114.5, for example, I would say, first of all, on the higher time frames, the price action looks good. But if I want to see bullish continuation, I need to see either a lot of volume coming in over the course of, you know, probably the US session, the start of that, or a good reaction when testing that level right here between 110 and 109.2, which is a combination of the biggest fair value gap, the 7-day rolling VWAP, and that single print that we left at 109.2. Get a strong reaction there, and I think we can rally up higher. Get a weak reaction there, and I think we will just remain stable here at the bottom. So that's around 110 and 109,000. That's what I think for now. Now, if I would have to say, you know, what do I think is most likely? Look, if the fundamentals continue to recover like they did over the course of Friday last week, I would say this is most likely. All right, because the price action is constructive. The fundamentals, at least over the course of Friday, showed some promise. And ultimately, I think on the higher time frames, we look quite good as well. So those are my thoughts for now. That sort of thing you need to know. I will keep you updated on this as well, of course, in my middle of the day market update as well, so keep an eye on the channel for that. But for now, have a great week, take care, and bye.